The exocrine glands of the skin include two major types. The first of which is the sweat glands, which are also called sudoriferous glands. And they produce a predominantly watery solution. There's about 1% of salt that's in this solution, but it's mostly water. It does have the sodium, as I just mentioned. It also has some metabolites and waste products. So depending on one's diet, it actually could change slightly, but not that significantly. There's also other sweat glands, which are um, found in the axillary area and the pubic area, but these are referring to the ones that are found everywhere else that are predominantly for thermoregulation. The other type of exocrine gland is the sebaceous gland, which is going to produce an oil secretion, which is called sebum. So we can see the merocrine sweat gland shown here. This is going to be the one that produces sweat through the sweat pore, as you can see on this slide. And the other type is the sebaceous gland, which is always going to be associated with a hair follicle. So the sebaceous gland is a holocrine gland, also referred to as, and it secretes oily sebum into the hair follicles, or it could go directly onto the skin surface. Either way, it does provide a lubricating effect for the hair, which is very important. It's going to prevent drying of the hair and also the skin. And they've discovered that these sebaceous glands are relatively inactive during childhood. And at the point of puberty, they do start to become more active. They cause the secretions to increase significantly. So, this could be maybe one of the reasons that acne is more prominent around the puberty years, possibly because of this. The last part of your chapter is on different types of skin cancer. And there are predominantly three types of skin cancer. The most common form of skin cancer is basal cell carcinoma. It's called this because it has to do with the stratum basale, which is where it starts. And it tends to be the most common and the least dangerous, but it's due to excess exposure to the sun, predominantly UV light rays. So, this is why you should wear a hat in the sun. You definitely should wear sunscreen as well. They've discovered, I believe, that 30 SPF prevents against 97% of UV rays. 50 SPF prevents against 98% of UV rays, and 100 SPF prevents against 99% UV rays. So make sure that you wear at sunscreen with at least 30 SPF for your protection. After all, the UV light rays can cause cancer by first damaging the DNA, which is in the nucleus. The second type of skin cancer is squamous cell carcinoma, and it may metastasize. Metastasize means that it will spread, and it's called squamous cell carcinoma because of where it starts. It starts in the stratum spinosum. You can see this is kind of an uglier example of skin cancer. And the last type, which is the worst, is the most deadly. It's malignant melanoma, and it starts from melanocytes, which are in the stratum basale. So sometimes a mole, but there are lots of ways to differentiate whether it is possibly skin cancer. In the medical community, the American Skin Cancer recommends the ABCDE rule, which basically looks like it looks at differences. So asymmetry, do both sides of the possible mole or cancer look the same? Does the border look irregular? And on this example, I think we can all agree that it does. Is the color consistent throughout? What about the diameter of it? It's specifically dangerous if it's more than about 6 millimeters. And then the last one is evolving. So is it starting to change? So with skin cancer, it's kind of like security is. They say, see, if you see something, say something. So in the case of possible skin cancer, if you see a mole, something that you suspect, make sure that you do ask your dermatologist. And everybody should be going to the dermatologist yearly anyway.